Today on Luminar Coffee Break, I'm going to show you how to organize and browse your texture collection in Luminar AI. Hello and welcome to Luminar Coffee Break. I'm Angela Andrieux, and today we're going to talk about textures, specifically how to keep your texture collection organized and how to easily access them from within Luminar AI. Let's get started. Up on the screen, I have a really cool photo that was taken by Evgeny Chabatarov, and I've already done a couple of quick edits to it. What I was going for here is kind of accentuating that gritty urban street feel. And here's the before, and here's where I've gone so far. I've added some toning, I added a quick template, some really quick edits just to bring up the shadows and add a little bit of color toning. So there's the before. Now what I want to do is add a texture. I'm going to go over to the local masking tool, click add and choose texture. And once this comes up, we can go to our texture selection menu and browse the textures that are included in Luminar AI. Now the textures here are pretty limited. They're kind of just a sampler to get you started. What you're going to want to do is build your own texture collection. And you can do that by going to the internet. There's like probably millions of free and paid textures out there that you can acquire. There's some available in the Skylum marketplace. If you're a Luminar AI Insiders member, there's some free ones we have available there, or you can create your own. So the sky's the limit, and I encourage you to build up your custom collection. What I've done today is I have downloaded a set of textures from the internet, and let me go ahead and pull that up. I've got them here in my downloads folder, and you can see it's called Grit and Grunge, and inside there's two different folders. Now they're the same textures inside, but one is in JPEG format, the other's in PNG. When I'm using textures, I prefer, if possible, to use the PNG files because those typically have a built-in transparency, meaning you have to do less work to get your picture to show through and to blend those together. JPEGs also work, they just take a little bit more effort to do. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and load up my Grit and Grunge PNG files into Luminar AI so I can use them, easily find them later, and access them whenever I want. So I'm going to go over here to my texture selection menu, go to this All Textures menu and say Show Custom Textures. Now this is going to pull up another folder here. You can see it's kind of buried deep into Luminar AI's folders, but what you want to pay attention to is this custom folder. And that's where I want to paste my folder that I downloaded. So I'm going to go back over here to my downloads folder, grab that Grit and Grunge PNG folder, and I'm going to copy it. Then go over to this custom folder. Inside that custom folder, right click and paste. And that's going to paste that Grit and Grunge PNG folder into Luminar AI. Now when I go back over to the software, I can go back to this texture selection menu, go to all textures, and there's my Grit and Grunge PNG. Now if you're looking at all textures, they're going to be here just at the bottom of the list. You can see they're starting to load and populate in there. So now I'll be able to get to those anytime I want. For now, let's go ahead and just click on that group so we can take a little closer look at what we want to do here. For this particular photo, I'm going to go with this one here, Film 3. Let's see, let's try a different one. I think it was Paper 3 that I really liked. That one looks pretty good. Maybe this one here. There we go. I like this one a lot. So now that I've chosen my texture, it adds a nice gritty aspect to this already really neat city urban vibe. So I'm going to go back out to my main texture window here. I'm going to pull that opacity up to 100% so I can see really what's going on. The next thing I want to do is click on Place Texture. Now, depending on the texture that you downloaded and you placed, it might be a lot bigger than your actual image. So from this, you can see the bounding box actually extends off the screen. I'm going to go to my zoom and choose 25%, and I can see that this texture is a lot bigger than my actual photo. So what I can do is just move this around, grab these corners, resize it, and get it placed where I want so it better suits my image. I can even rotate this here, just free transform, to get it to be exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to make that a little bit bigger there, right to that edge. Pull that down, getting pretty close here. Pull that down there. And then I can grab this side and just drag that out, and it extends that texture out. And now I have that placed where I want. So you want to take a look at where that texture is falling, how it's affecting your subject. I think that's looking pretty good so far. Now I can click Place Texture again to go ahead and lock that into place. From there, I'm going to want to go into my advanced settings. Here you can adjust the contrast, make it a little bit more pronounced, adjust the brightness of that texture overlay, and adjust the saturation and hue as desired. Now, I'm really liking where this is at, but I think it's a little bit strong, so I'm actually going to pull back on the opacity for my final result. And the last thing I want to do is I want to remove the texture, especially from the face and the body of my subject. So I'm going to go up here to the masking menu here and go into Paint Mask, choose Erase, and I'll use the bracket key on my keyboard to go ahead and make this smaller. And I'm just going to quickly erase that texture from his body so it's not distracting the rest of the image. And probably a little bit here from the front of the basketball as well. And you see it makes a huge difference. Let's go ahead and make that a little smaller, get that off of his arm. All right, that's much better. Get a little bit there, and maybe this one down here across his calf. And maybe even a little bit here. So there you go. You can see you can get very detailed and clean this up quite a bit, but I want to give you a quick overview of how to add these textures into your images and how to work with ones that you add to your collection. So if you wanted to add folders, I just showed you how to do that. If you just want to add them one at a time, what you'll do is go back to this All Textures menu. There's a plus button at the bottom. You can always navigate to wherever you keep your textures on your hard drive and pull one up that way. And then it'll automatically get added to your catalog so you can use it later. Hope you guys found this helpful. I thought this picture was a lot of fun to work on. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them for me in the comments. I'll be sure to keep an eye on those as we go through the day. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you give us a thumbs up here on YouTube. We always appreciate seeing those. I want to wish you guys a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.